Hi, so I'm recording for my Module 2 discussion. Hopefully it's okay to submit a video. But we're talking about the makeup of our classroom and what we can do as a teacher to meet the needs of our students and to design a lesson that's adapted to suit each student's individual differences. So my first thing that comes to mind is my first hour class. My first hour class is a mix of 7th and 8th graders, and I'm teaching visual art to those students. Also in that class, I have a proctor that the counselors have put into my classroom. It's a student that is pretty high functioning, but has autism. He's not typically comfortable in social settings that involve interacting with students that he's not familiar with. But it's a student that became really warm towards me last semester, and his parents were really big advocates for him in requesting that he stay in my classroom this semester. So he's not really a student that's interested in most of the projects that I assign, but he's a student that's really interested in, he loves sculpture and making three-dimensional things. He's obsessed with Minecraft and is always asking me to make Minecraft projects. So I have this student who has really high needs. He requires a lot of attention. He's bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in the morning and is ready to figure something out with me on a daily basis. And then I have 32 other kids in the room that I have to keep on track and also manage at the same time. So in order to get through that, I've learned to kind of think into the future with my special student, my proctor, and I've gotten him some books of some things that he's interested in, and we've picked out some kind of ongoing activities that he can handle without needing a ton of help from me. I just check in with him and ask him what he needs to get going, and I get him those things. Sometimes I ask him to help me with something, but then it allows me to step away from him and get with the other kids in my classroom. And I've kind of had to, advocate for acceptance and tolerance in my room, because the other kids, they notice that I'm giving him a lot of attention. And I think sometimes they want that same attention back, but for them. So I have to kind of learn to not overdo it with that kid, with my student with autism in front of my other kids. I have to make it seem as if, my love and affection is equally shared amongst all of them. But I also have kids in that class that are ESL students that need help getting through written instructions. Those students, I always try to make sure I'm verbally giving instructions and checking in. I think one thing I learned this last year was to be really systematic in how you're doing informal assessment in your classroom. So I try to really make sure I hit every table when I'm checking on them to make sure they're all up to speed and making progress. But I think, meeting all the students' needs in your classroom, it really takes a lot of research. You have to be really familiar with their 504 plans, with their IEPs, with their behavior plans, if you have those students in your classroom. And then you have other kids that you just have to know when they're having a bad day, and ask them if you notice something's off, and just talk to them. I think relationship building is huge. I think as a new teacher, I kind of have a rap for being, it takes a lot to get kicked out of Miss Williams' class. But I feel like at the stage that we're at in this semester, when I've only had these kids in my room for a few weeks, while I have to provide high expectations for behaviors, I also have to be a lot more tolerant because in a lot of ways we're still getting to know each other. So I don't want to misjudge something I might perceive as a behavior issue when really it's just that kid upset about something, or maybe they didn't mean to offend me or didn't mean something to be disrespectful, but I took it that way because we didn't know each other. So you got to do the research and ask around when you get new students that you're unsure about, because there might be something going on with them that you're just not aware of, or maybe just a way that you can connect with them that another teacher can kind of shine a light on for you. So I think asking around is good. Knowing the student's story is essential in being successful and for helping them get to the level you want them to reach in your room. So thank you for your time.